Greetings, technology enthusiasts. I am Chandrahas and I am delighted to be here with you representing CyberBrainer. Do you not believe that the technology sector is advancing at an unprecedented rate, making this an opportune moment to acquire the skills that will facilitate your progress? With CyberBrainer, we are empowering you to take control of your own future. At CyberBrainer, we do not merely impart your interests. We assert that information is power, yet it is the application of knowledge that distinguishes you. Our courses are meant to equip you with essential skills, whether you are pursuing data science, understanding artificial intelligence, or delving into cybersecurity. Let us commence the session and seize the future today. Thank you. Let's examine Guidewire, a cutting-edge insurance program and its uses for accelerating insurance processes.
Today we are going to understand about the Guide Bar product architecture as a whole. What are the products? What are the different product type of products? Guide Bar as a whole will contain. And what are the different methodologies used in the Guide Bar? We call it as Guide Bar configuration technology. The Guide Bar platform. The Guide Bar platform is nothing but the studio. I'm going to have a walkthrough of the Guide Bar studio. And there is a training app which comes with the package of the Guide Bar. The training app is specifically designed for the developers to train. If someone is learning the Guide Bar right. Guide Bar has provided a basic application that you can learn the development techniques, basic techniques in the training app before jumping directly to the claim center of the police center. Why Guide Bar has recommended training app is, this is very much lightweighted application. You can do all the hands on the training app and after that you can jump on to the claim center. If you are learning claim center specifically, right, all the concepts which you have learned in the training app you can apply in the claim center. We'll be using training app in this particular class for all our lab sessions, specifically for development lab sessions. And we have some techno-functional lab sessions also, which we will be doing in the claim center only. And about the Guide Bar application. As you all know that Guide Bar has three applications: Policy Center, Billing Center, Claim Center. And there is also one more minor application along with these three, that is Contact Manager. Contact Manager is not used that much widely as Policy Center, Billing Center, Claim Center are used. But yes, this is just for managing the contacts. And most of the clients doesn't use the Contact Manager, they only use PCBC and CC. And for contact management, managing all the contact information, they use some legacy systems. But yes, Guide Bar has a contact management in it. And then we'll be going to the Guide Bar studio and I'll be showing you where to write the code and where debug the code. Where is the console? All those stuffs. Guide Bar, specifically, it behaves as a record management system. What report Guide Bar has is to Guide Bar score the report which is specific to the insurance. The Policy Center is a management system of the report which is related to the policy. Billing Center is the management system of the report which is related to the billing information, like creating invoices, sending the payment reminders, and claim centers for managing the data related to the claim. Suppose the claim comes into the picture right on a policy. For managing all the reports of the claim right where the incident has been happened. Suppose there is a personal auto policy, right? An accident has been happened. The claimant will claim the policy. it will enter all its details in the claim center, right? We call whenever the customer is creating a claim right in the claim center. They will be entering some information, right? They will first enter the information about the policy number, what is their policy number, and then they will enter the information about the incident which has happened with them, right? The accident. They'll provide the location information. They'll provide the driver's information, who was the driver, and how many people were there sitting in the car, and what is the exact location of that ride, and what are the damages. All those information will be fed in by the one which is creating the claim. As we said, right, in case of claim center, all these information are fed by the customer service representative, who is the first one to be approached by the claimant. This is the data management system. Claim center is a data management system of the claims. All the data related to a particular claim. All the claim handling would be done in the claim center, starting from the entering the claim to the payment of the payment, check payment, and creating the reserves and all the investigations which happens in the claim. And apart from the third-party systems as well, apart from policy center, building center, claim center, there are many and number of external systems, right, which Guide Bar connects throughout the life cycle of a claim. I'll give one example. Suppose there is a third-party system which will give us the information about the previous claims, past claims on that policy, right? When customer service representative is entering the claim data, right, we can have functionality in Guide that it will talk to the third-party system, which is previous claim, the record management system, and it will send the data for that particular like this particular person for this particular policy has been already claimed or not, or is it just a first time here? It will send the data with the third-party system and it will receive the data in years or not. Yes, this particular policy has been claimed already. It is a second time claim. Based on that, the claim, the investigation, further investigation will occur in claim center, and also the amount which needs to be clarified to the claimant will be decided by the acupuncturist. This is an example of the external system. Like this, we have a number of external systems in the claim center. Our claim center is also integrated internally to the policy center as well. The policy center also behaves as an external system to the claim center, right? Because as soon as the customer service representative will type in the data, I mean policy number in the claim center, right? It will fetch all the information of the policy from the policy center. There is an integration with the policy center in the claim center also. Based on that, the further investigation will be happening in claim center. It's a combination of internal access, data management, and external access. We have already covered about this policy building and claim. This is how our studio looks like. Can I start a slideshow here? Where can I get the slideshow? You can. We have a Guidewire application is a 3-tier application. We have a database server, we have an application server, and we have a web client server. We go through each tier one by one. What is the database server? In the back end, Whatever the data we are getting from the customer service representative, right, feeding the claim value, right, it will be stored in tabular format somewhere. As we have in Java, right? In Java and in ET, we have SQL Server. In SQL Server, we have different tables where the data is stored, and these tables are interrelated to each other, right? In the database server, mostly US market. US and Canadian market clients use SQL Server for database. But for local development and local testing of the development, developers use SQL Server for database, which comes with inbuilt guidelines out of them. We do not need to set up any database for that. It comes inbuilt with that. Once we install the guidelines, it will automatically get installed. All the data will be stored in the database server. All the application logic, right? We are writing the code here, right? We are writing the logical behavior of the application. All the rules, all the business rules will be written in the application layer. All the classes which we need to define in the application layer. And there is a client layer which will include the UI part of the application, right? In the backend, we have the business rules and the database server, and the client is the front end. We don't in the guidelines. We don't have to use front end, like we don't have to use different front end technologies like React, Angular, all those stuff, right? HTML, CSS, we don't have to use that because guidelines internally. It comes with a complete package. There is a concept, a page configuration file. It's a drag and drop concept. We are going to use PCFI to do any changes in the UI for that. And it's a drag and drop. It's a combination of all these three layers. Whenever we say that we are a developer, right, we should have a knowledge on all the three places. And apart from this, the tier 4, right, we have the 4 tier 3 logic here, but we have one more tier as tier 4, which is nothing but the integration with the third-party applications, as I've already given you an example, right? Another example can be the authentication server. Suppose someone is logging into the policy center, right? All the credentials and the permissions. There might be some third-party system which would be checking, which would be containing the data, who should have what permissions, who should have the login permission to the theme center. During the login, we'll call the authentication server, that is third-party system, and third-party system will send us the response back that, yes, this guy, this particular guy has the access and the application will be locked. This is another example of integration in any application. In irrespective of policy center, filing center, theme center, you can see that we have a policy for claim center. We have an integration with the policy admin, right? And there are two other life cycle of a claim, right? There can be multiple documents which can be generated, right? Those generated documents should have a repository to make the guys as a light-weighted application just to store the data related to the particular frame, right? Not to make the application heavy, clients generally recommend to have an external document storage system. In US and Canadian market, most of the client use image write system to store the document. What they will do from Claim Center, they will send that metadata to the document storage system, and document storage system will store the document and it will create a public ID. to uniquely identify the document at later stage of time. If we want to retrieve that particular document right from the claim center, we have to send that public ID to the document storage system that it will search for that particular document in its system and it will send us back. This is also a third-party system. We'll be talking about different third-party systems throughout the course. And whatever has been written, whatever we need to write in the application layer, right? There is a language named BOS. It is built on top of the Java language only. It is object-oriented language and it is based on the BOS concept. It's just like some syntax differences are there, but not the major differences. This is our Guidewire Studio. You will get all the files related to the project right in this pen. And you can see all the files related to the application layer, database layer, and the UI layer in this section. I'll go through each and every section in detail, what each and every section contains, where the class is written. We'll cover all this. Let me close it. Let me go back to the DPT. In database model, suppose we have to create a new entity we call the database tables, right? We call it as an entity in the Guidewire, right? Whatever tables which we are going to create right in the database, we would be referring as an entity in the Guidewire, not the tables. Suppose we want to create a new table in the database, right? We don't do it directly in the database side. What we do, we will create an entity inside the studio and automatically the corresponding table will be database table will be created for that particular entity. You can see that for AV contact, there is an entity which will contain the contact information, name, public ID, and create time. These are the fields of this particular entity, right? Public ID is nothing but the unique identifier for each object of this entity, right? And AV contact is the name of the entity. As soon as we create an AV contact entity in the studio, automatically a backend table would be created with the name of AV. AV is nothing but the application initials. This is for training app. We use AV for policy center, we use P. C. For boiling center, we use B. And for PIM center, we use C. AV underscore AV contact, a table will be created with this name. Backend table will be created and what would be stored in the column? Name, public ID, create time. Let me show you an example of the database entity in the Guidewire Studio. And I'll show you whatever has been shown here. Right? I'll be showing you that particular entity. In the extensions tab, we will have all the entities listed. These entities are nothing but the guide, other tables which will be storing the data. We're talking about the AV contact entity, right? You can see here. This is a view of the AV contact entity. If we want a new column to this particular entity, right? We can do it from here. We can open the AV contact entity and you can see there is a plus sign here. We can add the column. And suppose we want to give a column name, we can write the column name here. The type of the column, is it a varchar or is it an integer type or is it a boolean type? For boolean type, we use bitrite. Type would be mentioned here. Similarly, we need to mention the properties of the column. In SQL, what happens, right? We need to write an SQL query to add a column, right? But here it's not like that. Here, if you want to do some changes in the data model, right? We want to do the changes in the addition and the removal of the column or addition of the removal of the tables, right? We will be using the entities. If I create a column directly on the database, will it be reflected here? No, it is not allowed. Any DB changes, it has to be done from the ID. Any changes, we have to do it from the ID, and there is a reason for that. I'll tell you what reason it has. As soon as we create an entity, right? As soon as we create an entity in the guide where it will not only create the table here, also it will create a Java class or a .java class in the application server. We do not need to write the Pogo classes with plain old Java classes for that. It would be set as a getter will be automatically created for those. You can see there would be an AB contact. Java file would be there. You can see already the class has been generated, and then this is a read-only file and which will contain all those properties which are listed in that particular entity. You can use this particular file in your code to fetch the data from that database. This will work. The extension entity, it's ETX and ETLI. What is the difference? Yes, I'll be covering that not in this session. We have a separate session for data model. Today's session is the basic introduction to the configuration. That's it, but I'll be showing you the difference between ETX and ETI files in the data model session. Probably tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll be starting with the data model. Let's go back to the class. As soon as we create the entity right internally, this class will be created, which is nothing but the setters and getters which we can reference in our code. And that's why we're not supposed to change those classes. We are not supposed to change these classes. If you want to change these classes, we have to create a new class, and then we have to establish a parent and child relationship. Right? In Java, we have subtypes and supertypes. Similarly, we have to do that. In this training, we'll be covering all those things, how we do that. We have a concept of enhancement. If we want to enhance the class, we write enhancements. Right? If you want to enhance the entities, if you want to add some properties, which we do not want to reside in the database, but we want to have it as a virtual property. That for those cases also enhancements are written. And next one is the PCF file. PCF files are. You can reference the PCF file from the page configuration section. All the PCF files would be mentioned here. PCF file is nothing but the UI file, the drag and drop file for which we will use for creating different UI screens. You can see all the company related, employees related fields. This might be a table which will store the name, job title and email address of the employee. I'll be covering the PCF. What are the different types of PCF files and how these are configured in detail later. This is how it looks like, and it will be suffixed with PCF. You can make the fields editable from the UI. If you have editable fields in the UI, right? If you are editing some value right in the UI, it will go from the application layer. It will go to the database. It will update the value in the database. This is how these are interrelated. These three tiers are interrelated. Each center contains all these core three tier and the fourth tier integration mechanism. All the centers are containing this. We are specifically talking about the claim center. We'll be focusing on the claim center only for this one, but each and every center behaves in the same manner, keeping the development in mind. And there are a few topics which are very much specific right to a particular center that, for example, there are for claim center. The specific topics are financials, claim maturity group access, fraud detection. These are not present in the policy center, but in policy center we have product model, job flow. It is not present in the claim center. Apart from this, common methodologies, right data model, user interface, application, logic and integration mechanism, we have some separate specific concepts as well. Shamsha, you can also, if you have some question, right, you can also chime in and you can ask me wherever you want. And similarly for width, as we said, right, for all the three centers, there are 40 years. Similarly, in training app would also have all the 4 common years present in it. That's why we study the development in the training app, as it is a lightweight application. We have a data model in the training app. What is data model? Data model is nothing, but there are different entities in the different systems, right? Suppose in training app there are multiple entities like AB, contact address entity, which will store the address of the contact. Contact note bank account, which will store all the details of the bank account, right? All these are stored in the entity format and all these entities are interrelated to each other. These are connected to each other in with one or the other relationships. We have studied, we might have heard about different relationships in SS, Q, L, right? Like a foreign key relationship array, key relationship one-to-one relationship, right? One-to-many relationships. Similarly, in guide by data model, also these entities are interrelated with each other. Having these relationships, the common relationships which are used, right, are the foreign key relationship. Let me open a notepad. Common one are the foreign key relationship, array key relationship. One-to-one very rarely used. Mostly we have foreign key and array key relationship in all the data model, and another type of relationship can be subtype and supertype. This might be the new which you are hearing, right? Subtype and supertype. As in Java, right? We have supertype and subparent and child relationship between the classes, right? We have a class and a class can inherit all the behaviors of some other class. In that case, we say that it is inheriting all the behaviors of the parent class. When we create an object of the child class, we can also access the properties and the methods of the parent class. Similar goes to here as well. Here also in the entities we can have supertype and subtype relationships. In Guide, where we use subtype and supertype relationships a lot. Suppose I'll give you an example. Suppose we have an AB contact entity, right? AB contact entity is the parent. We have a contact. It is a generic, right? By seeing the AB contact, we are not able to identify which type of contact it is, right? an out-of-the-box application for contact management. For each type of the contact, we have different subtypes available. Suppose we have a person type of contact. There is an entity named AB person. There is a company type of contact, right? There is a person named AB company. These are the subtypes of the AB contact. And this is the supertype. What we understand from the supertype is AB contact can have some generic fields like name, email ID, email. But let's suppose say what AB person can have the SSN. SSN should not be available for a company, right? It is only applicable to a particular person. It's not applicable to a company, correct? This field is unnecessary for AB company. That's why SSN field is not stored in the parent. That's why it is stored in the child element of this subtype of this AB contact entity. And AB company might also have some specific fields which are not available to other contact types like business ID. A company can have business ID, right? These are the subtypes. If we create an object as you have seen, right? In the backend Java, class will be generated for all these entities, right? If we create an object of, let's suppose say a B contact entity, are we able to fetch the properties in the AB person entity with this particular object? Let's say this is a supertype and this is a subtype, right? Are we gonna? We have an object of AB contact entity like AB contact object. We have this object. Please do like, share and subscribe to our channel.